Welcome back to the Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the practical blueprint to build phase of Module 2. That means mapping your manufacturing process and designing the master batch record. We are going to take the messy, sometimes chaotic physical reality of your manufacturing floor, and we're going to translate it into a rigorously governed digital record. So let's get right into it. Here's how we're breaking it down today. First, mapping the process. Second, inputs and outputs. Third, critical steps and controls. Then we'll look at the master record, followed by electronic workflows and checks, and finally, governance and pitfalls. Right, let's kick things off with Section 1, mapping the process, or as I like to call it, the map before the record. You know, an electronic record is brilliantly designed to capture a process, but here's the catch. It absolutely cannot fix a process that you fundamentally don't understand. Think about the chronological journey of a physical batch. You start with materials receipt, you move through dispensing, onto core manufacturing, and finally review. Well, every single one of these stages generates vital records, checks, and crucial decisions. If you miss mapping a physical step, say equipment preparation or even a quick line clearance, your digital record is instantly going to have a gaping hole. The digital chain is quite literally only as strong as its weakest documented physical step. To see how this plays out, let's look at a fictional case study, North Star Biologics. When their team actually got out on the floor and physically walked the line to map their process, wow, they found some massive surprises. They discovered entirely undocumented hold times and these informal kind of habit-based line clearance routines that their old paper forms had completely masked. Because let's be honest, paper allows operators to just tick a box and sign, politely hiding the messy reality of human habits. By mapping out what was really happening, North Star ensured their new digital record was based on actual, real-world operations, rather than a flawed legacy form. Moving on to Section 2, inputs and outputs. This is our design lens. So, once you actually have a map of the process, you need to analyze each step by separating exactly what goes in from what comes out. It's like a giant puzzle. On the left side, we've got our inputs. This is your materials, your equipment, and the specific process parameters going into an operation. Then, on the right, you have the outputs, the samples taken, the intermediate yields, and the records generated. Cleanly naming these is absolutely crucial. Why? Because it dictates exactly what your digital record must capture. Plus, it highlights exactly where automated interfaces, like, say, a warehouse management system, can supply data automatically. And that is a huge win, because it completely eliminates manual transcription errors. Which brings us to Section 3, critical steps and controls, basically focusing on what actually matters. Look, not all steps in a manufacturing process are created equal. We really have to nail down the vital differences between critical quality attributes, or CQAs, and critical process parameters, CPPs. So a CQA is a property of the product itself that just has to be kept within a specific limit. Think about the potency of our North Star Biologic, for example. Now, a CPP is a parameter that directly affects that CQA, in this case, temperature. Your control is exactly how the electronic record enforces that parameter, perhaps through real-time temperature alarms. Industry good practice tells us we need to focus our strongest controls right here. If you try to over-control trivial details, you just end up creating alert fatigue for everyone involved, and you end up hiding the steps that truly matter. Okay, Section 4, the master record, drafting the blueprint. The master record is the strictly governed template from which every single individual batch record is generated. And I want you to consider this rather chilling truth for a second. Errors in the master repeat in every batch it produces. Think about that. If an operator makes a mistake on paper, okay, you lose one batch. But if a designer makes a mistake in the master digital blueprint, maybe a wrong tolerance or a missing instruction, that mistake is systematically replicated in every single batch until it's caught. It can absolutely catastrophically corrupt your entire manufacturing program. No pressure, right? To prevent a disaster like that, a compliant master record has to contain a few essential elements, all very clearly defined. We're talking unambiguous product identity, exact components and quantities, sequential instructions, sampling plans, clearly defined checks with meaningful signatures, and of course, strict version approval. It is also incredibly vital that any variants, like different batch sizes or line locations, are formally controlled options within this master structure. They cannot just be informal, on-the-fly edits made by operators. All right, Section 5, electronic workflows and checks, building the engine. This is where it gets really exciting. Now, we get to translate that static master record into a dynamic workflow. But let me be unequivocally clear about something. Do not simply reproduce the paper page on a screen. Seriously, this is the most common fatal trap organizations fall into.
A proper electronic workflow doesn't just digitize paper. It actively enforces sequence and logic. It uses mandatory fields so that no silent skips can happen. It performs complex calculations instantly, and it actively guides the operator, catching errors right at the point of entry rather than just waiting for a quality review days later. It's a total game changer.
So, how do we actually decide who or what does the checking? Well, let automation handle what it's brilliant at. I'm talking about repetitive, high-volume tasks like barcode identity verification, weight tolerances, and complex calculations. Automation doesn't get tired, and it certainly doesn't get bored. By offloading that, we save human attention for what humans are uniquely qualified for, true judgment calls. Things like assessing visual appearance, verifying aseptic technique, and navigating ambiguous situations that a computer just wouldn't understand. However, if you are going to replace a traditional human-independent check with an automated one, it must be rigorously justified. You have to prioritize your controls based on a risk matrix using two axes: the severity of harm if an error actually occurs and the likelihood of that error happening. If the severity of harm is incredibly high or the automation just lacks contextual awareness, say during a really complex line clearance, you absolutely must retain that independent human verification. Every single decision you make here has to be documented and entirely risk-based.
And that leads us to our final part, Section 6, Governance and Pitfalls, Maintaining the Machine.
You see, creating a brilliant master record is really only half the battle. It requires rigorous governance to survive across its entire life cycle. You definitely want to avoid these toxic design anti-patterns. First, uncontrolled master data, where no one is quite sure which version is actually current. Then, there's a lack of clear ownership, where everyone just happily assumes someone else is maintaining the system. But the most dangerous pitfall of all? Hidden or unlocked calculations. A calculation that an auditor cannot manually reproduce is not a clever software convenience. It's a massive data integrity risk. Your calculations must be visible, they must be validated, and they must be locked down tight. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. Take a good look at the records in your facility today. Are they truly capturing the messy, complex reality of your manufacturing process? Or, much like North Star's old paper forms, are they just masking it behind tick boxes and habit? By applying the rigorous design lens we've discussed today, mapping the absolute truth, defining critical controls, and building truly dynamic workflows, you can transform your records from passive paperwork into active engines of quality. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I really hope this empowers you to design with confidence.